Hey, buddy.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for bringing down the car.
Mate, pleasure, honestly.
So, what year is it?
It's 2004 or
2004.
5. I literally can't remember. I think it's late 04.
Okay, cool. And it's an S, so it's a 3.8.
Yeah, 3.8S. Yeah, proper used and abused 997.
Yeah. So, because what's called, you've had, I mean, the way we met each other, because we go back a fair bit, is...
Yeah, probably, it's probably knocking on, what, like 9 years now or something?
It must be something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that car club was like, car club in inverted commas, was like 2011.
Right, wow.
So it is going back a fair chunk,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Because you had a forest green metallic 964.
That's it, yeah.
That was a stunning car.
And one kid, so, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
A while ago now, but yeah, I love that thing.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous car. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I remember asking you to give me first refusal on that car when you came to sell it, because it's a special thing, because from memory it was a C2 manual.
Yep.
And forest green metallic, which is a rare colour, right-hand drive. I mean, it ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, it was a good spec, and obviously it's now with its new custodian, Richard Pardon. So,
okay.
And I hear on the grapevine he's got some plans for it,
cool.
so it's good.
So it's leasing, it's going to get a new life.
Exactly.
Another chapter to its book.
I think it's where it needs to be now. So,
yeah. So how long did you have that car for?
I think I had it 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
So what prompted the sale? Because like, to many, that's like a unicorn car. It's something that most people would never contemplate selling.
Well, I didn't really want to sell it per se, but at the time my dad had a Ferrari 355 that he had advertised, and it wasn't getting loads of interest.
Yeah.
And he just spent quite a lot of money on all the maintenance, all the things that needed doing. He said, look, do you want to sell the 964 and just give me what you get for the 964? So it worked out, it was a kind of no-cost swap for me. Brilliant. And I thought, do you know what, life's too short. I love the 964 to bits. I've had it a decade. I've done so much with it. It's just time for something new. That was literally the reason. So,
no, I totally get that. I think that variety is the spice of life, right? So like getting to have several different experiences as opposed to having just one, you know, it's a no-brainer. So I get that. And you've ticked that box and those memories aren't going anywhere. So, you know.
Such a great time. That 964 was my daily for a long time. You know, I did like over 15,000 miles the first year I had it. It was literally, I'd go and get nappies from Lidl. I'd like literally just lived in that thing, and I loved every minute of it. And I was just kind of a bit done with it, really. So
fair play.
And,
and so, did the dark side appeal? I call it the dark side.
It's
to
the
be honest,
stressful side. It's like I absolutely love it, but it is a bit different. Like I don't know, you get used to its quirky ways, but you see a fair few more warning lights and little in sort of oddities, I guess, and quirks that you get used to, like the sticky vents and all the little common things that Ferrari owners, you know about. But I think I've really been enjoying it, to be honest. And
it's a very cool thing.
Having sort of to this car, like myself and one of my best mates bought this together, and this has kind of kept that 911 sort of
passion alive.
It's the ownership experience, because I feel like when you own a 911, it's the community that comes with it. It's the meets, it's the shows, and you don't get that with the 355. So this allows me to kind of keep the hand in and enjoy that side of
ownership.
Vehicle ownership,
That's really cool. So how did this come about? So you'd sold the 964, you've got the 355, and then...
Yeah, so this car's actually is a two-owner car.
Right, wow.
The first owner was a friend of a friend, and the second owner was the friend. It's my dad's business partner. He bought it, used it for about a decade, and then said, look, I'm thinking of selling the car. He put it into my dad's barn for storage. I took one look at it, and I recommended it to my friend to buy it. I was like, you should buy this. This will be a great car for you. And he said, well, I'm up for buying it with you. So, yeah, we thought, okay, yeah, let's do it.
So your best friend is also your business partner?
Yeah.
Because to go into our history of things which aren't necessarily very interesting for our audience, but like we've done a fair few little projects together actually over the years.
Yeah.
So
been nice.
Matt owns a design agency, And basically, I have very poor skills when it comes to graphic design. I use a cheap piece of software called Pixelmator. And so usually what happens is I throw something together, which is pretty rough around the edges, and then throw it to you to tidy up, or to fix, to be more precise.
Well, it makes our job easy because you've pretty much got the bones of the design, and it's
Well, you're very
there.
kind. You're very kind, because what I do is pretty rough. Yeah. So you run a business together, you're best friends, and you bought a car together. Because it's something that I think, you know, as car enthusiasts, we've always questioned. Well, I think a lot of people have questioned the idea of owning a car with someone,
yeah.
and the obvious potential pitfalls of what that can mean.
Yeah.
So, what in your experience are they? Or did you have any fears or trepidations about owning a car with someone?
No, but that's down to the person. So I've owned, I've owned sort of projects with my brother-in-law and with Nick, my business partner.
So you've been here before with Nick?
No, this is the first one we bought together.
Okay, cool.
But I'd owned, something with Mark previously, and do you know what? I think as long as you trust that person, you're of the same mindset. Difficulties come when, one wants to spend more money on the car than the other, and you're kind of like, you're swimming in opposite directions with a project. And also, if they're a shit driver and you're worried about the car, you're like, is it going to come back with curved wheels or like, a missed shift or something? But I think if you're in it with the right people, it's great because, again, it's a bonding thing. It's something you do together. It's just a great thing to do with mates, and obviously it makes things more affordable. So, you can have, like, for either one of us to own this independently, it's just a bit more of a financial commitment, a burden, and together, we keep it clean together, we do the bits together, it's nice.
Nice.
I would recommend it.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's probably more telling of your relationship with Nick than it is of anything else.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and so give me an example. So, for example, when it comes to, let's say, servicing the car or modifications and so on, what do you do? Do you split the cost 50-50?
Yeah. We just have a chat about what we want to do to the car. Yeah. And we just say, like, for example, a friend, Dale Buckley, was selling a set of genuine GT3 wheels. He was like, "Do you want them?" I'd have probably gone for them. Nick was like, "Do you know what? I like the lobsters." And I'm like, "Do you know what? I'm cool with that. I like the lobsters too. Let's leave it." And that's just a decision we made together. And then there's things like, we both agree we really like pole positions. So next on the list is a set of pole positions for the car. And then we just work towards it, save it up. And when we've got the money, we just pull the resources and in they go. So
kumbaya.
Exactly. And it helps when you're of similar taste. And, Nick's not saying, "Oh, can we wrap it pink and stick neons under it or anything?" So.
Okay, well, that's slightly disappointing because that's what I was hoping for the next episode. So 2004, 2005 is what we're saying. Carrera S, 3.8 litre. It's a manual car. So this was the spec you were looking for? It was a Carrera S and it was a manual car?
Wasn't looking for anything. It was literally just because we got offered the car at such a good rate because it was a friend of the family. Yeah. And it was like, do you know what? This is a lovely car. Yeah. And, I'd always really had a thing for the 997 because for me it just addressed, I like 996s more than I ever have, but I always felt the 997 was the slightly prettier car. Yeah. So it was like, that's the modern Porsche to have, because on the newer stuff I find them a bit big and just, I don't know, like this to me, and maybe it's my age, I'm 41 now, but this to me just ticks all the right boxes. It's got a bit of modernity, it looks beautiful, it's not too big, and I was just like, let's go for it. It wasn't, wasn't our dream spec, it wasn't exactly what we were looking for, but it just, like, the colour's really inoffensive, the wheels were nice, and we've just been going through it since we bought it. It's a car that had over 100,000 miles on the clock, and we were like, do you know what?
Brilliant.
In fact, we had owned a car before. Yeah. We'd had an E92 M3 between us.
Okay.
That had like 18,000 on the clock, and we were afraid to use. This was the antidote. Yeah. This was a car that had 100,000 on it, and we could just drive it to Scotland. We could go all over and don't care about it because it's kind of past its prime in a way.
So okay, let's talk about that. How do you use the car?
It gets used for everything. It gets used for going to the dentist, going to the school run, just pop into the shops. It is.
So it's a daily, would you say?
It is a daily, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
and how do you decide who gets it?
we literally just take it in turns.
Yeah?
And yeah.
Okay.
We just be like, oh yeah, you know, do you fancy having 997 for a bit? And we just swap it over, and
Nice.
that's the sort of nice thing about it. Obviously, we work together, so we end up at the office all the time, so it's easy just to like grab the car and off we go. So
nice.
it works well like that.
Awesome. And what are you doing with it? Like, have you got any road trips planned? Have you done any road trips with it? How long have you had it? Sorry, I'm asking you too many questions in one go.
So had the car for like coming up 3 years, I think, Nick, on the way here. So it's surprisingly flown by. We've driven it all over the UK, but not gone abroad with it. No real road trips planned, to be honest with you. I'd like to get a road trip planned, but often there's another car. For me, I'll be going with my friends, like my sort of car scene friends, and there'll be another car in the mix. So I took the 355 to Wales last time.
Nice.
I've got a Carrera as well, so I've been trying to go racing with that. So this really is just a tool to kind of use every day and have fun while you're doing it. Nice,
really cool. Okay, awesome. So what I like about it is it's very stealth. It's not in your face modified, but it certainly is modified.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that becomes apparent straight away is the ride height. So tell me, what running gear are you running on this?
So it's KW V3, and I think we've just ordered some adjustable toe and adjustable camber arms to tweak the rear geometry a little bit, because it's maxed out at the moment.
Okay.
So it's kind of pushing it a little bit on the camber side. But it rides really well, and it's just sort of enjoying. I've always liked a low car, and it kind of just makes it stand out a little bit more, and enjoying the look.
Yeah. So the V3s, you've got adjustable height, the damping, the bump and rebound from memory, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. And there's a little bit more camber on the rear by the looks of it as well.
Yeah. So that's what we could do with dialing that back a smidge, but because of the height, you're kind of, that's as dialed out as we can get it at the moment.
Got you.
What I also love about the KW is the stainless bodies, the fact that like they just stay so clean.
Yeah.
Like coilovers are a nightmare for corroding and seizing.
I think I'm 99% sure, but you've given me a doubt now, that the current Bilsteins are stainless as well. Because for a while I think they weren't, and you had to coat them in an oil and all the rest of it.
Well, we actually had Bilstein PASMs on this as our first suspension, and they were only on there a year, and they did look a little bit like they'd sin a year when they came off.
Right, yeah.
But it was a great suspension. But cool. I think I'm a bit of a KW lover. That's what I had on the 964 as well.
Yeah, fair enough. And you're running my favourite set of tyres. I keep banging on about every time we have a guest in here. But like the Michelin Pilot Sports, they're just brilliant tyres. These, aren't they?
Absolutely transformed the car. And this had like age-old tyres on it. I can't remember if they were Goodyear or they were good. They were good brand tyres, but they were old, so they were hard as well. And we put these on, and wow, I mean,
overnight,
such a transformation.
They're brilliant tyres. And I was about to interrupt you. You were about to say
something? No, the fit of the tyre as well. This is an OE tyre size, but the walls look really nice. They fit the lobsters beautifully, and really
they have a really nice curve on the sidewall. Generally, I think these. And also, I sound like a crack record when I start talking about these, but I was blown away by just how good they are in the wet as well. Now they're not a winter tyre, but as an all-round summer tyre, especially in England where it rains on a regular basis, I thought they were really impressive in the rain. Did you find that at all?
Absolutely, they're hands down the best kind of like off-the-shelf tyre that I've ever used.
Yeah.
We had them on the E92 M3 as well, and put a new set on it. It just came with whatever it did from the factory. Yeah. Put the Sport 4s on, and instantly the car just used to hook up, which it was spinning the tyres previously. And in all conditions, it felt so much better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, nice.
Yeah, really rate them.
Yeah, and there are going to be people out there, and myself included to a degree as well, because it's not to say that I'm shy from having a low car either, who would question how livable the ride height is. So how have you found it?
Well, yeah, this isn't a show car. This is a daily driven, usable car.
And they're proper chunky tyres.
As you can see on the splitter, we fitted the aero bumper probably about 6 months ago, give or take. And it's had a hammering, you know.
Yeah.
But the way I see this is, expendable parts. Just put a new splitter on every year if you want. You know, that's what we're sacrificing for the look.
No, fair enough. And it performs well? You're happy with it?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And, you know, I'm based down in Dorset, and we often will go out for an early morning hack.
Are you? I didn't know you were based in Dorset.
Yeah. So I'm near Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Near Poole. Okay. And we often we'll meet up at like 6 o'clock in the morning with Scotty from Barnsport and a lot of the local Porsche owners.
Yeah, nice.
We go out for hacks, much like we did with the London 964 group. Yeah. And everyone's on it. Yeah. And your country roads, you know, just having it basically, and it just deals with it, just soaks it up. Doesn't trouble me at all having it this low. And
I can attest to that because I've known Matt for a little while now. We've been on a few drives together, and you don't fanny about. You certainly give it a stick. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so let's talk about the front bumper, because obviously this to me is it's a GT3 bumper, right?
It's the same, but I think the GT3 bumper has the vent in here.
Okay.
So on a 0.1, you have a little black plastic vent.
Yeah.
Here. So this is the aero kit option.
Is it? Interesting. Yeah. So the only difference is that, is it?
Exactly, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, that's nicer. It's cleaner. For a car that hasn't got the big spoilers and everything on the rear, I think this looks nicer, actually, than a GT3
it's not a GT3 at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's nice for it to not be a homage or a faux GT3.
Yeah, sure.
We did typical car of this mileage. These looked an absolute state. So these are brand new items, which look so much of improvement because they get stone chipped and they just go like white. Yeah,
they look very, very crisp. In fact, it's made your lights look a little bit more aged. But I guess just a polish would probably do those.
Yeah, I think they've had a polish, but I think again at some point a new set of lights is on the cards. But you know, this stone chips on this car, it's a usable thing. It's not a show car.
No, it's lovely.
Trying to keep it fun.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It looks great. It's a really cool thing. I love the aero front without the rear. Without the rear spoiler, I think it keeps it toned down.
I wouldn't mind considering a ducktail at some point.
That would be cool, yeah.
You know, I think it would just balance out the aero.
Yeah.
I'm not. This car doesn't need a spoiler, but just the little ducktail like I had on my 964, I think would be really nice.
I think you're right, actually. That would look really good. So who would make those? Because I'm guessing there are aftermarket companies, or would you buy it from? Did Porsche ever do one? I'm trying to think for a 997.
Not that I'm aware of.
What did the Sport Classic have? Or that was it the Speedster at the time?
Yeah.
Did those have ducktails? I think they had ducktails.
Honestly, my 997 knowledge not that great, but I'm not familiar with one. I know that obviously the aftermarket, that CSR.
Yeah, so RPM do one, don't they?
RPM,
yeah. And I think there are definitely quite a load of companies out there that do them, aren't there? Yeah.
So
I think that would look really cool. Yeah, I really like that idea.
That's probably like the only exterior mod. It's going to have new exhausts later this month.
Why? What's wrong with these?
They're split. They're just aged.
Just wear and tear.
So yeah, just going to update the exhausts and
nice.
That's good.
And will you go for something aftermarket or will you go for something factory?
Yeah, an aftermarket stainless I think is what we're doing, but nothing crazy. Just
something a little bit louder.
Maybe. But I'm actually really happy with the sound. It sounds.
I suppose also the way you're using it. If it was like more of like a weekend car, you're like, okay, I can deal with it being loud, blah blah. But if you're using it day to day to get to the office and this that and the other, run to your shopping run, there's something quite nice about having a quieter car.
Exactly. Yeah. And
plus also, I'm not being funny, Matt, but like we've known each other a while now. We're getting old. So at some point or another, we've got to grow up.
That's true.
Ever so slightly.
I feel old. Yeah.
It's funny. Some of the cars in here, like I've owned for quite a significant amount of time, and I get back into them and I'm like, fucking hell, okay, like my tastes are changing.
Yeah.
You know, like I've got megaphones on this car, and you know, I never thought I was like, yeah, megaphones forever, you know. But now I'm getting to a point now where I'm like, actually, you know, a bit of back pressure would be good. It'd probably be a little bit better for the tune on the engine.
Yeah.
And actually, would just take the edge off.
Yeah.
I am starting to feel my age a little bit.
In very much that vein, when it goes to Scotty at the end of the month, I'm going to probably raise it about probably no more than 3 to 5 mil.
Oh, right, wow.
Which is
So 4x4 height,
counterintuitive for me, but I just think, do you know what?
Yeah.
Now it's got the aero bumper on it, it might just be nice to just have that tiny bit, still be really low, but have just an edge more clearance.
Do you know what? I think it would look better for it, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks really good like this, but I think just that little bit more, just enough to have a little bit of a gap.
Well, I think what's going to help is when we've got the adjustable camber arms, I can bring the camber out on the rear tyres slightly, which will allow me to raise the rear, and then raise so it's all part of the package. So
right.
that's.
So the adjustable camber arms, who makes those? Is that aftermarket?
Yeah, they're aftermarket. You can get them from
Patrick Motorsport, something like that?
I think there's like 4 or 5 manufacturers.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is just from a place called Gravity Performance. They're
right.
cheap and cheerful. But,
okay. Cool. So let's talk through the interior, because you mentioned that your plan was to put some pole positions in there at some point.
Yeah. So when we bought this car, it was like it was a little bit more tired in there, and it doesn't seem like we've done a lot. But there's new mats, new buttons, Pioneer CarPlay system.
Brilliant.
GT3 shifter with a short shift linkage.
Okay, cool.
You see the centre console's been retrimmed.
Oh
so
yeah, and you've got the Porsche crest and
Porsche crest
bust.
there.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and then the renowned steering wheel.
Yeah, they're cool. I really like the renowned stuff. It's a cool company doing cool things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. And the one thing that kind of looks a bit poor in here now are the seats, because they're the originals, and we've always intended to change them. So it's a very subtle interior, but there's lots of little bits that have been done. And
can I have a little sit? Is that right?
Yeah. Just jump in. I mean, I love the seating position in these. When me and Nick would jump in one of the other cars, you're always shocked at how high it feels because of how low this feels. It's a really nice place to be honest.
It is a nice place to be. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it feels good. I've had a 997, and I absolutely love that car. I had so much respect for it. It was just so phenomenally capable.
Yeah.
A roads, B roads, practicality, reliability. I think a 997 generation, I don't know the more modern stuff, so I'm sure they're even better, inverted commas, but I just remember being so impressed about the Swiss Army knife capability of the 997, just being able to just do everything. It was a phenomenal car. I love that thing. So, and this is quite a smaller diameter.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
It's
It's
nice.
a grey. It's not a black, is
I
it?
had the Momo. Me and Nick had the Momo Mod 07. I think
Yeah,
it was
the
in
Mod
there.
7.
Which was great, but it had the yellow, the yellow band on here, and this steering wheel came up from my brother-in-law, and we were like, do you know what, that would be perfect in the car, and it kind of helps with all the rest of the Alcantara. It sort of ties it all in nicely.
Yeah, it ties it in really nicely.
Feels great in the hand.
Yeah.
It's sort of a little bit chunkier than the Momo, slightly.
Yeah. No, it's nice, and it's. Don't get me wrong, I like the Momo steerings; they're really nice. But you see them all the time. It's just nice to have something slightly different.
Exactly.
With a brushed and
different without being
nice.
Like sort of a bit. Sometimes you see different steering wheels, and they are different.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, but this isn't. This isn't in your
subtle.
face different, is it? No,
Exactly.
It's nice. But I think that it fits with the overall look of the car, because the car is subtle. That's really the way I would describe it.
You don't feel flashy driving it. That's
No.
that's what I like about it. It really is just a daydream car that some people don't even look at it. It's just.
So one of the things I always approach with trepidation is suede steering wheels, because I always get in my mind, I'm thinking that's going to get really grimy, really dirty, blah blah. How long have you had the wheel on there? Because it is pristine.
It's only been on there 3 months.
Okay, I was going to say, otherwise I expect you're driving with white gloves on.
Yeah, it's only been on there 3 months, so I'm sure it will get a little bit wear and tear, but we'll just kind of try and keep it clean. And
yeah, I think there are some good YouTube videos about how to bring them back, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So not too worried about it, to be honest. It's not like it's a high value item that you're like, I think it's like under £200 for a new wheel delivered. So,
Yeah, so it can be another consumable, like your splitter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad really.
Awesome.
The other sort of mods, while I think about it, the car's got Tarox discs and pads.
Oh yeah.
Which are a nice kind of, it's like OEM kind of look, but they've got the.
So it's a
slightly better performance.
Cross-drilled rotor.
Yeah, it needs to be drilled, not grooved, for TV approval.
Interesting.
So obviously Tarox's trademark is grooved.
And Tyres is is a German company? No, it's Italian. Italian.
Yeah.
But they wanted the TUV approval because that kind of covers all the bases.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that's. I could be wrong, but that is something I think I remember them saying. So
Yeah.
that's why they kind of look factory.
No, they look good. And have you noticed a difference? Are they
Yeah,
better
yeah.
than the OEM?
Yeah, I'd say so, and it could just be down to the pad as well, because it's like a fast road pad. But no, the brakes feel fantastic.
And it's a fast road pad, and do you notice any more brake dust or a bit more bite or anything?
Not really, just sort of confidence. I think they just feel like when you lean on them, they stand
work.
up to a bit more repeated use.
Yeah.
But, not really getting any fade out of them.
Yeah.
But then we haven't tracked the car. Don't intend to track the car. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for bringing it in. It's a really cool thing,
Pleasure.
and yeah, it really caught my eye. I think we were working together on a project.
Yeah.
I think it was the Niners logo, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
And it popped up in conversation. I saw it, and I was like, "Ooh, we got to bring this in. This looks interesting."
Well, a lot of people, they just, they sort of question, 997, bore score and all the rest of it. And
Yeah.
there seems to be a bit of trepidation about owning some of these early 997s. And like we had this one inspected by Northway actually, and they were like, yes, there is some signs of bore score, but they're like 80% of the 997s we see look like this.
Okay.
Just drive it.
Brilliant.
And we've done near on 25,000 miles in the car since buying it, and it's been trouble free.
I think, is it my imagination, or do the 3.8s have less issues with bore scoring than the 3.6s?
I think it's the other way.
Is it?
But
Interesting.
I could be wrong. That's in Gen 1.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
But yeah, so I'd recommend it to anyone that's thinking about 997s.
I mean, it's such a great proposition. The price point is good. It's modern. You know what's called. It's not it's not a hard car to live with. And case in point, what's called. You're using it as a daily driver. So, yeah. No, awesome.
Awesome. It's
Cool.
been a pleasure.
No, pleasure, dude. Thanks for bringing it in.
Nice
Really
one,
cool
man.
car. I appreciate it.